Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm George Connolly with Scratch Golf Tips. Today, I'm going to be taking you into a training session here on the driving range where I'm just focused on my wedge play. So let's first talk about what the issue I was facing was, and if this is something that sounds like you, then this is certainly a video that you can benefit from. So here you see that's a pretty full swing that I just took with the wedge, and a big issue with my wedges recently is I'm a drawer of the golf ball, so for a right-handed golfer, I move the ball right to left, but I'm hanging a lot of my balls out to the right with wedges in hand. I'm talking pretty simple yardages, somewhere from 90 to 120 yards. I've really been struggling with my aim point, and what I found was the issue is actually in two things. One, my alignment to the ball, and two is my alignment to the target. So I have an alignment rod here, and essentially what my issue was when I was hanging those balls out to the right, it's because I was frankly aiming too far out to the right with wedges. Now, if you put a 6-iron in my hand, I'm going to have a couple yards of draw on that golf ball. It's a longer shot, longer swing, but with a wedge, I'm not going to draw the ball nearly as much. So in this session, I'm going to be working on having a very neutral setup with my feet, with my club face, with my shoulder line, and having a very straight aim at my target. So ideally, I want to be hitting these wedges as straight as possible. Now, this type of training has two very good uses in my mind. Now, the first benefit is that you're really going to focus on your target line a lot more. By dialing in where you aim the start of your shot, you're only going to improve your proximity to the hole. It's something that's often overlooked but super important. The other thing that's great about this drill is that if you have very neutrally focused practice where you want to hit the ball straight, the rest of your mechanics are going to inherently become more neutral. Your stance is going to improve. I found in doing this drill setup, it's a very simple setup. All you're doing is putting that alignment rod on the ground, but I found that my stance was way too closed. My shoulder line was way too closed. So when you're standing over your wedge shot and you're taking your normal swing, make sure that your feet are an equal distance away from that alignment rod. That's going to make sure that if that alignment rod is pointed right at your target, that you're not too closed or you're not too open. You can see me looking at my foot line right there after the shot. I'm just making sure that I'm staying very neutral with that stance. You also want to match up your shoulder line with that alignment rod. If your feet are perfectly neutral, but your shoulder line is way closed, that front shoulder is really coming out towards your front foot, then you're going to hit big draws. And the same way if it's too open. So focus on really having that neutrality in both your feet and your shoulders. Having a nice neutral club path is also imperative here, and really make sure that you're staying balanced. That there wasn't that balanced to swing. I didn't necessarily fall out of it, but you could see that I was leaning to the right. So balance comes from a solid tempo and not swinging too far out of your shoes. With a wedge, we should never be really getting after one. Well, if you have a driver off the tee, you want to squeeze a couple extra yards, you can really try and lean into one. Increase that club head speed to squeeze a couple more yards out. That's fine. With wedges, we're really focused on distance control. These clubs aren't as forgiving as modern drivers are. Nice balanced motion, and make sure that you're staying within yourself. You don't want to be off balance. You want to be putting nice solid swings on the ball. They're not all going to be great strikes. That strike, for instance, was pretty bad, very low on the face, a little bit off the right, but you're working on a different type of address positioning. And for me, I'm someone who really has a pretty pronounced draw with my irons and a fade with my driver. So having a perfectly neutral setup, it feels uncomfortable to me. But just having this drill station to work on more neutrality in the swing has really helped me, especially with these wedges. I'm not aiming far out to the right and trying to hit this big draw. That's just unsustainable. It's very difficult. If you want to get right at a pin and you're really aiming at it, why aim really far out to the right and hope that you estimate exactly how far it's going to draw? It's a difficult shot to pull off, so stay neutral, focus on those feet, those shoulders, and most importantly, aiming at your desired flag. Put that alignment rod right at a flag, get some swings in, and really dial everything in from a very neutral perspective. If you have any questions or comments on anything that I mentioned in this video, please leave those in the comment section down below. I love reading your comments and replying. As always, if you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe to the Scratch Golf Tips YouTube channel for more instructional content. And thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.